sane. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, and how do you do? Good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, and God loves you. Woo, woo! Yes, y'all, this is it, Weena B, Cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. God woke me up this morning and accepts me just the way I am. To God be the glory this morning when I rise. I have no doubt. So from 6:40 to 6:45, y'all know I use my testimonial song just to kind of relate to the topic today while I get myself together in front of you. That's why I believe in transparency. This the way I woke up. This is what I got done so far. And watch the transformation as we listen to this song. Then at 6:45, I will come to you with the February the 7th AA Daily Reflection Reading, okay? But guess what? This morning when I rise, I don't have no doubt. All right, so listen while I get myself together. All righty then, let's go. All right. To God be all the glory. Okay. This morning, when I rose, I will have no doubt. Welcome to the February the 7th Alcoholics Anonymous Daily Reflection reading for today. This day that he woke you up this morning. He woke me up this morning. He said, rise. Rise, Edwina. Rise, Edwina. Rise, go forth on the battlefield and do my will. And just save one more person. So, Alcoholics Anonymous, almost 90 years old. God allowed me to be present in this fellowship for, it will be 32 years, February the 23rd, right? I'll have 32 years in recovery from drug addiction, alcoholism, prostitution, and the whole lifestyle. But one day, when I rose on February the 22nd of 1990, I had no idea that my life would change for the better and be introduced to a spiritual program with spiritual principles and spiritual traditions and spiritual fellowship. When I asked God, whoever they say you are, take me out this life now or show me a better way. And I haven't looked back. So this morning when I rose, I had no doubt that God is going to take care of me because why? I'm doing his will. I'm staying sober and I'm prayerfully, hopefully, am saving one more of his children. So I do not represent Alcoholics Anonymous. I couldn't if I tried. Didn't even want to, right? But I've been a proud, grateful, humble member for over 30, well, we'll be 32 years on February the 23rd. So the daily reflections, just like any other daily reflections, when you wake up in the morning, like I do now, I listen to my ambassador, Tamika Strickland, right? And then I turn it and tune into Hope Winchester, and then I tune into AJ Hardy. I didn't do it this morning. I got kind of busy, but guess what? Then I go into my special closet. I got a whole room that's a closet, right? And I sit before that window and I just thank God for one more day. One more day. And I look at the sky, I look at the surroundings, I look at the light bulbs, and I see things like, wow, the illumination, if you stare long enough of a rainbow across, and I just get into it, right? And then I get prepared for you. So that's my daily routine. And so we're going to talk about a path to faith. Many of you know the 12 steps that are spiritual in nature provides through their daily reflections, right? Monthly topics and narratives and perspectives and quotes to to inspire you, to motivate you, to remind you, right? To focus on this one thing that can help you throughout the day. And so it's a reminder of our past, our present, and truly our future, okay? So you know what I'm going to ask you to do, right? I want you to, I'm going to ask you to take a sip of your coffee. And if you're still in that world of alcoholism, guess what? Go ahead and take a drink. At least you're listening to me, right? But I'm going to drink some coffee, all right? Let's take a sip of whatever. Coffee for me. Let's try that again. I can't show on this because y'all ain't out there to come save me, but God will, right? All right, so I'm going to put up the reading for today, and I want you to open up your ears so that you can hear, but more importantly, come on now, I want you to listen. Okay, so here we go. All right, close your eyes and let me read it to you, all right? While I clear this throat of mine. Okay, it says February the 7th, AA Daily Reflections, a path to faith. Right? True humility and an open mind can lead us to faith. And every AA meeting is an assurance that God will restore us to sanity if we rightly relate ourselves to Him. 12 Steps, 12 Traditions, page 33. My last drunk had landed me in the hospital, totally broken. It was then that I was able to see my past float in front of me. I realized that through drinking, I had lived every nightmare I had ever had. My own self-will and obsession to drink had driven me into a dark pit of hallucinations, blackouts, and despair. Finally beaten, I asked for God's help. His presence told me to believe. My obsession for alcohol was taken away, and my paranoia has since been lifted. I am no longer afraid. I know my life is healthy and sane. Did you get that? Huh? Did you get that? We're talking about a pathway to faith, right? And so now we're going to read it together. And this time I want you to hone in on each and every word like we do every morning, right? All right, so let's read it together, okay? It says here, February the 7th, AA Daily Reflections, a path to faith. True humility and an open mind can lead us to faith, and every AA meeting is an assurance that God will restore us to sanity if we rightly relate ourselves to Him. 12 Steps, 12 Traditions, page 33. And the writer states, my last drunk had landed me in the hospital, totally broken. It was then that I was able to see my past float in front of me. I realized that through drinking, I had lived every nightmare I had ever had. My own self-will and obsession to drink had driven me into a dark pit of hallucinations, blackouts, and despair. Finally beaten, I asked for God's help. His presence told me to believe. My obsession for alcohol was taken away, and my paranoia has since been lifted. I am no longer afraid. I know my life is healthy and sane. So, let me deal with this, okay? Because listen, I need the Spirit to do its thing this morning. So, excuse me while I, in front of you, get myself together. Me. I thought you I'm cooking for Cocoa Pops again, right? I'm not trying to choke. I told you I'm transparent. Listen. All right. Me. Okay. All right. So, a path to faith. Okay. So, y'all know most of the time when I hone in on words, right? I like to give examples, right? And so, one of the things that reminds me of a pathway to faith, right? A path. When you hear the word path, what comes to you? A path, a pathway, huh? Right? A direction, right? Huh? A path to go through, right? A path, right? To move forward with, to move forward towards, a path forward. It could be a path backwards too, right? But a path, a direction, okay? Right? And so in Alcoholics Anonymous, we talk about a path to faith. But let's go back before we came to Alcoholics Anonymous. I had to set the stage, right? What paths have you taken in your life? What paths? As a child, as a teenager, as a youth, as an adolescent, right? As a young adult, think back on the different paths and pathways that you took, that you decided or was directed to go. Think about all those paths. Think about it, right? And where did those paths lead you to? Where did they lead you to? Where did it take you? Where did they embrace you? What happened at the end of that path, right? So think about all the paths in your life journey, on this earthly journey, as a human being, right? As a human, because we have not tapped into the spiritual part of us. No, we have not most of us. We are human beings, but we're talking about from a human perspective now to get in touch with what this saying is, a path to. So as a human, where did those paths take you to? Where did you wind up? What did you wind up doing? What did you become? What happened? So Alcoholics Anonymous teaches us to go back into our history to identify those attitudes, ideas, behaviors, decisions, pathways, to find out how we wound up where we are today. Okay, so you got it with path, right? All right, so when it talks about two, you're going forward, all right, or backwards or sideways. So let's get into the reading. It says here, right, a path to faith. Okay, now, do you have faith? Do you have faith? Did you take for granted that you was gonna rise this morning? Do you have faith? Or did you expect it? Did you believe that you would be here this second, this moment, this hour? Did you have faith? Or did you just assume and expect? What about breathing? Huh? Do you have faith that you will continue to breathe? So don't tell me you don't have faith. Oh, yes, you do. We just got to kind of, break it down to the most intricate part of just breathing. What happens when you, like just now, I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't, get it together. And what? Something's going on. Oh, that expectation that I was going to get. No, there was an interruption. But I had faith if I do the next right thing, the next right spiritual thing, the next right human thing, take a break, get it out, cough it out. So you do have faith. You have faith that your job is going to pay you. You have faith that your car is going to start. You have faith in this, you have faith in that, right? So you do have faith. So a pathway, a path to faith, right? And so once we kind of hone in that we do have faith, right? And then we have to ask ourselves, what do we have faith in? The human experience or the spiritual experience? Oh, there's a difference, which is why I'm here before you today. So let's go into it. All right. So it says the next thing here, it says true humility and an open mind can lead us to faith. Whoa. True humility. True humility. Now, because let me give you a definition of humility. Because listen, I don't assume y'all know, and I ain't going to pretend. Okay, so humility is a modest or low view of one's own importance. Did you hear that? A modest or low view of one's own importance. True humility. Do you have humility, or do you want to continue to project, I am the great I am, right? But in another book, it says every knee shall bow. So if your time ain't come yet, it's coming. Huh? And from my experience, through humiliation came humility. So I have true humility, right? And been practicing it over the years. So what else it says? It says true humility and an open mind leads me to faith. Woo! Do you hear that? So if I have a modest and low view of my own importance, right? That means I create an opportunity to stop being closed-minded with the flappers on, whatever you call them, horses, right? And become open-minded to all possibilities and not just my way of thinking. True humility says when the student is ready, the teachers will appear. Huh? I often tell people, if you think you know everything, you cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. And one analogy is, if you were missing one piece of the information, if you was missing one piece of the puzzle, is there an opportunity? Is there a chance that you could be wrong? Yes, is the answer. And so we become, right, with true humility to say, I didn't know that. I was wrong. Let me open up my mind to hear it all. So true humility and an open mind can lead us to greater faith, because we get to hear the experience strengthen others as they demonstrate and exercise their faith. Your way is not the only way. God didn't just create you. He created a world of children for him, each with their own spirit, each with their own destiny. And so coming into Alcoholics Anonymous, we get to hear others who have the common denominator of not being able to stop drinking, not being able to stop drugging, prostituting, all of that, to find out how we can be set on a path to spiritual faith. Okay? All right, so it says, and true humility and an open mind can lead us to faith. And guess what? Every AA meeting is an assurance that God will restore us to sanity. So let's stop there. Let's stop there, right? I listen. I pause. Hit that pause button, right? And every AA meeting, there is an assurance, right? An assurance that God will restore us to sanity. Now, remember what the second step is? Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And what does sanity mean? Soundness of mind. Sanity means you're not crazy. And sanity doesn't mean you're crazy. Huh? And sanity means you do insane things. And it's based on our decision-making process. And so if we are under the influence of alcohol, drugs, we make some insane decisions. We do some insane things. So how can the second step came to believe that a power, right, greater than myself could restore us to sanity, soundness of mind? So true humility coupled with an open mind, right? Knowing that, and these AA meetings, God is going to reveal to us through our other members, what it means to be restored to soundness of mind. That's why I go to my meetings every day. I don't want to miss any opportunity of hearing someone else's experience, strength, and hope that can possibly help me, will help me, right? And guess what the next thing says, right? Restore us to sanity if we rightly relate ourselves to him. Did you hear that? If. Oh, that's a big word. Woo! Now, I don't know about y'all computer people or whatever, but in school we had the if and then analogy. If you do this, then what's going to happen? If you do that, then what's going to happen? So the if and then, right? So when you, like myself, embarked on this journey called life, right? As a human, right? Yeah, we think we, whatever. But as a human, right, we are set on pathways, and then we begin to take on the directions of other people and guidance of other people. And then there are times when we rebel. We rebel because it's a whole lot of other stuff that's involved in that, right? And so one of the things that I've learned in Alcoholics Anonymous is, right, when we have a pathway to do something, we have to ask ourselves, if I go there, what might happen? If I go here, what might happen? And sometimes we don't even ask the question. We just go. Huh? You just, so don't tell me you ain't got faith, or you just go. Don't even think about nothing, right? All right, and so when we come into Alcoholics Anonymous and we have members who are on this same spiritual journey, talking about their past experience, right? Their past patterns, their past formulation of attitudes, ideas, and behaviors that wind up not working. It worked for a minute or two. And guess what happened? Then we had to substitute. We had to find something else. So we kept running for something to deal with inner issues. We sought external solutions. Huh? All right. So here we go. Right. So it says, if we rightly relate ourselves to him. Now, in Alcoholics Anonymous, you'll hear the many people like myself. Oh my God. My mother tried, bless her heart. Yes, she did. And she prayed. Huh? My mother prayed for me. She prayed for all her 6 children, but it's maybe this one right here. Yeah, now. Right. And so, but it says in our literature, no human power could have relieved that alcoholism. No human power. So us putting faith in humans is a grave mistake. Do you hear me? We putting our faith in man is a grave mistake. I didn't know that. So I kept looking for the man, the woman, the clothes, the jewelry, the shoes, the food, the this, the that, right? Putting faith in those things to comfort me, to console me, to make me happy, and they never did, and they never will. And so I recognized that it was God who I didn't know. I heard about him, but I didn't know him for myself. I was taught that God was a punishing God. So if he is a punishing God, why should I have any dealings with him? Ooh. But when I talk about confusion, when I talk about confusion as a child, that confusion, right, perpetuates into my teenage years, my adolescence, my adult life. Even now, I'm still unraveling the confusion because they are so deep-rooted. But that's okay, because I now know that it was the God that I didn't know that met me underneath that parked car almost 32 years ago in the streets of Philadelphia, 3:00 in the morning, getting high with my stepson, doing all kinds of sexual favors with my stepson. And when it was all said and done, he wanted to beat me up like any bitch in the street. And I put myself underneath that parked car, right? Because it reminded me of going underneath the bed as a child when I was afraid or when I was playing hide and go seek. All right. So when we rightly relate ourselves to him, right? And the pathway to recovery did that for me. Right. So now the writer says, right, my last drunk had landed me in the hospital, totally broken. Huh? His last drunk wandered him up in the hospital, totally broken. But what's the key word there? Huh? What's the key word? Look at it. What's the key word there, right? My last drunk had landed me in the hospital, totally broken. What's the key word? What do you think the key word here is? For all y'all educated people, right? And sometimes we just need a person with some common sense to recognize the word last. L-A-S-T, the last. That is the most important word in this statement. The last. My last drunk, my last drink, my last doing all that kind was on February the 22nd of 1990. I remember my last drunk. That was my last. That's the most important word in that statement. The last, right? And so similar to him, mine was also similar, right? It was then that I was able to see my past float in front of me, right? Huh? I don't know what it is about that last experience. Huh? Yes, last, final, done, made up mind. Woo! Done. Done. And so when you had that knee bow experience like this gentleman and like I had, our life flashed before us. We get that tape and it rewinds, it goes. Yes, it flashes in front of us. In my case, the rapes, the setups, the beat-ups, right? The abortion I had as a prostitute, right? The stealing, the conniving. But I had dreams of wanting to be a model. I was the class vice president at Dobbins. I was the co-captain of the cheerleader of the Mustangs at Dobbins. I had dreams, I had aspirations, but look where I wound up, underneath a parked car. Dreams dashed, right? The suicide attempts. How at the age of 34 did I get underneath a parked car? Huh? So you're right? So it says, it was then that I was able to see my past float in front of me. I realized that through drinking, I had lived every nightmare I had ever had. Huh? And so when we go into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, we ask people to share their experience. What happened? What happened? Not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you. See, we ask people the wrong question. There's nothing wrong with us. Something happened to us. Something happened to us. And so when we do our inventory, we go back and identify those patterns. We identify those triggers. We identify the people who played a role in the. We go back to our decision-making process. Yes. And so when it talks about, I ain't got but a couple more minutes, I tell you, boy. It says, I had lived every nightmare I had ever had. And see, this is what I'm saying, that you have to do this recovery for you. See, I lived through that rape. I lived through that beat up. I lived through that suicide attempt. I lived it. Y'all may have heard about it, but I lived it. So therefore, recovery has to be for me. It has to be for me. Because I lived it. And I no longer want to live it. All right? All right, so I got but a couple more minutes. Wait a minute. All right, so then it says, come on. And then it says, My own self-will and obsession to drink had driven me into a dark pit of hallucinations, blackouts, and despair. Yes, yes. And that's what our disease or whatever you have, whether you are addicted to candy, to ice cream, to working, to shopping, to sex, eventually, your own self-will and obsession to do whatever will drive you into a dark pit of hallucinations, blackouts, and despair. But it says here in closing, finally beaten. Ooh, what's the key word? What's the key word? Only two of them. What's the key word? Finally. 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 Done. Finally. Beaten. When you have a made up mind, and God knows when you are ready, you will have that knee bowing experience, and you will confess with your tongue that He is. And nobody else has the power. So finally beaten, right? I ask God for help. All you have to say is, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me. I don't know you. I don't know who you are. Help me. Because no human power can relieve it. But God could and would if He was sought to whoever you are. Help me. And when He hears your heart, He knows when you're ready. All right, I got a couple more seconds. Wait a minute. All right, so then it says here, His presence told me to believe. When I asked God to take me out this life or show me a better way, right? Not knowing Him, but His presence, that I was alive, that I was not zapped out, gave me what I needed to believe. Because I asked Him for help me or take me out. That's where the seed was planted, right? For me. My spiritual faith began to grow after that seed was planted, right? And so here it says, wait a minute. All right, come on. Okay. It says, His presence told me to believe. My obsession for alcohol was taken away, and my paranoia has since been lifted. I am no longer afraid. I know my life is healthy and sane. I am no longer afraid. While I was sitting, laying in my bed, meditating this morning, I got the, my acronyms, right? Free, from recovery, emerge, empowered. From fear, face everything and recover, right? So it said to me, from recovery, right? From recovery, right? Free, from recovery, emerge, empowered, right? Free from fear. Face everything and recover. So I can say, I am no longer afraid. I am no longer afraid. I'm not going to F everything and run. I'm going to face everything and recover because I have faith. I've been sober one day at a time for nearly 32 years. I know He can. I know He will. And I know He will continue if I do my part. Right? If I do my part. Somebody calling me for a ride to the meeting now, right? I can't answer the phone right now, but that's okay. All right, so what I want to end with is saying to you, I live a spiritual, healthy life. I have emotional sobriety. I have sanity, right? I have soundness of mind as a result of these 12 spiritual principles. As Donald Lawrence says, you are not a natural being having a spiritual experience. No, you are a spiritual being encased and walking this natural journey called life. Woo! All right. A path to faith. I have it, and it's available to you too. So in the meantime, let's have faith about putting on that mask. Let's have faith about putting on, getting the vaccination. That path of getting your booster shot. That path of getting your children vaccinated. That path of social distancing. Why? to save your life and to save the lives of others? Do you have true humility? Or are you still selfish, self-centered, and egotistical, prideful, that you don't care about nobody else but you? But guess what? There's a creator who cares about all of his children. All he asks is that you do your part while I do my part by staying sober and helping another alcoholic achieve sobriety. All right? So I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Pops at Weena. This is my perspective. Like I said, I don't represent Alcoholics Anonymous, but I give you my perspective in my little time. And guess what? I got to go. I got to go to my meeting. All right. To God be the glory. I love you. I love you. I love you.